Hello and welcome to Stitching It. Last year in 2018, DMC released a new set of specialty embroidery floss called Etoile. It's almost like a hybrid between cotton and metallic floss, and while I hadn't invested in the set, I recently found the line on display at my local Joann's store. Of course, I couldn't resist picking some up to try, but at around $2 per skein, a project stitched using this can quickly get a little expensive, and with 35 colors to choose from, shade selections can be rather limited. Purchasing the entire set in a tin may not be for everyone, so I was really happy to see them in store and have the option to try them out individually. I didn't have an exact project in mind when I purchased them, but I picked my favorite colors and I want to share what I worked on and some things that I learned while working with them. As other reviewers have said, the sparkle is very difficult to capture on camera, and the effect is very unique and subtle, and it shows up best in larger areas, I guess. It blends in really well with regular DMC, though the strands seem to be a little thinner, and 2 strands still seem to cover well enough on 14 count Aida. The DMC website has lots of free patterns that feature Etoile floss, and I was inspired to find one called Night Peony, which I thought would go with the pinks and purples I had. I am stitching it on a DMC Charles Craft tote bag that has a 14 count Aida insert in it for this project, and I did have to use plain DMC for the lightest shade of pink, but for the rest of the pattern I used 2 strands of Etoile, and I was happy enough with the coverage. Like I said, it does look a little bit thinner than the areas that are stitched just in DMC, but it blends in well enough. I didn't use any type of thread conditioner on this, but I wouldn't rule it out because it can be kind of finicky and easy to ravel or fray on something. So if you have issues with it, I would say go ahead and don't hesitate to use some thread conditioner on it. But it does stitch up easier than some metallics that I've worked with before. So you can get away without using any. I wasn't sure what to do with this thread over the long term, what the best way to store it would be, especially as I used it. But when I was stitching this project, I would pull a length of floss from the end, and it does have a tendency to snag on itself, to tangle on itself, and to spit up little barf piles of thread out the end. So most of them I did end up putting on bobbins when I was done with it. If you have any better suggestion with how to store it, please let me know, but I'm just afraid that it would be snagged on anything and really get messed up, that I thought bobbins personally would be the safest thing to store it on. At first, I tried using the loop start method by folding over a long piece of floss, and I discovered that there was enough nap on this thread, basically, that the loop method is not a good idea. I wanted to have a cleaner back on my project, but it just made the floss tangle on itself. I would also suggest separating your floss from the middle, like here, instead of pulling it from the end one by one strand, because of the tendency to unravel the thread in the first place. It does need some smoothing out when you're about to start working with it, but the friction against this Aida wasn't too bad. Overall, I've enjoyed working with this floss. It's been kind of neat to see some of these specialty threads appear in the local stores around me, and I am really pleased with the shine and the sparkle that came out of this one. I think it's going to be a really neat project for my 14-year-old daughter. It will be interesting to see how they handle on this tote bag, you know, and stand up to wear and tear, how long they literally do last for something like that. But if you've stitched with these threads before, let me know what your experience was with them, and I hope this has been a helpful video today, and thanks for watching.